rezero episode 7. We are here. I am a day late. I do apologize for that. I'm very destroyed by that too. I love this stuff, you know that. So me being a day late is never a great thing. You know, I'm just mismanaged things a little bit yesterday. Had plans to get the recording done at certain times. Didn't actually happen. Was in a weird spot for the remainder of the night. Actually, what I planned to do, funny enough, because if we're being honest, you know, living with other people, it's kind of hard to be maybe loud or expressive at certain moments if need be, and we don't really know, but if needed, I always love to have that kind of luxury, so I don't like recording too late in the night, and I wasn't able to throughout the entirety of the day, so I went and with intentions of doing it at night. Didn't end up getting to it or getting around to it by the time that I needed to. So my plan was actually just to stay up till like first thing in the morning and just watch it then. But I got like an hour away from when I was planning to, which was probably going to be like 7 a.m. ish. So I was up, it was like 6 a.m. and I was like, let's just go to sleep, because then I was like, I'm gonna record it and then I'm gonna have to edit it and then I'm gonna have to make sure it doesn't get copyright, and then if it does, we're gonna have to go back through and fix it, and then I'm gonna make a thumbnail and I gotta do all this other stuff. And I was like, I don't want to be up to like 10. I just don't want to do that. So I just went to sleep. I was like, I'm not doing that. We'll be a day late. It is what it is. So we are a day late. I do apologize, which also means that Don and Blue Box, because I didn't, you know, I slept all day, ain't getting recorded today. There's no way I do that with the amount of time that I'm going to spend probably on this episode, because I typically do. Plus, looking at it, we have a 29-minute and 30-second episode, so we're back in standard rezero fashion here. So I'm assuming there's probably gonna be a lot that I want to talk about, and I ain't got it in me. I don't know what to say. So you guys will get one episode and we'll be days behind on everything, but it is what it is. I'm excited, as always, though, to be here, to be watching more ReZero, to be watching our 7th episode, our second to last within the first fake core split thing that we're doing here before we come back in February. Unfortunately, I hate the fact that it's that long of a break, but it's okay. You know, it's perfectly fine that we will be taking a break, because production things, and I want to have the best product for the series that I love so much anyway, so is what it is. The only fear that comes out of something like that is potential like worries that momentum in things are going to be almost lost, like interest amongst a lot of people. But it's one of those, like, you're 3 seasons in, I feel like people who are interested will tune in for it, you know what I mean? And it's not like that long of a break. It's not like Attack on Titan, like a final season and then having like 8 different parts for it. Like, it's not that like level of it, so it's not too like much of a worry, I guess, on my own end. And it also depends where they end, you know. If they end like in the middle of something, it's gonna be bad. But if we end on like my prediction of Deathloop almost, and reset there, it makes it perfectly okay to restart at a certain point at the beginning of whatever the second like split core would be here. So I think that's probably smart. So where do we find ourselves now with the previous episodes ending? Not in a great spot, but at the same time, while not being in a good spot, we're in an interesting spot. A spot where Subaru has not found himself in before. A spot, while second half of season 2 went on like his longest streak really of like not resetting, this is like the most, everything almost went perfect in that last loop, where here it hasn't, right? And this is the first time he's really put it to the test of let's not reset on like a really negative spot for us to be at. I'm like, you know, my legs got this dragon blood infused in it. Mimi's basically dead. Garf's like kind of on the loose. We don't even know where Otto is. Like, everything that can be Krush is destroyed. Like, everything that can be going wrong is essentially going wrong here. So where does that really bring us, right? You'd expect let's restart and try this again, but Subaru utilizing everything to his advantage here of like, I'm gonna have enough faith that we're gonna figure all this shit out, and then if I need to reset, likely probably will, but if he does, that'll put him probably at a reset point that we will all be comfortable with, and if not, he'll live with that being the case and the sacrifices at that point having to unfortunately be made. Made some strong declarations, got me pretty hype last week about seeing some growth on his part, believing in himself and his own abilities and what he wants to do, and working towards kind of saving everybody. I like this line of dialogue overall about like, not wanting the people who weren't prepared for fighting and who weren't just like in that mental space to like actually lose their lives over something like unfortunate, almost like something that they were like sneaked up on and were not prepared for. And it's a difference between like dying in battle and just dying like that, which I think was really strong. And I'm very excited to see where they handle things next. I'm assuming we have to regroup with some people, probably like Reinhard and others, and find Julius and stuff. Actually, I think we're with Julius. Never mind. Find Reinhard probably, and get Felt out of wherever she is. Probably, hopefully, find Otto, and assuming that he might be okay. We probably got to get a lot of people together and revisit what the next step, the next plan actually would be, to move forward, if there is going to be another one, unless Subaru is literally just going to utilize this to figure out things that he can without maybe regrouping with others. But I don't know exactly how that would be working if that were to be the case. We ended also with a really weird cliffhanger with Al kind of opening and holding in possession of this media that Amelia ended up opening, which is like weird because it makes you suspicious of him. Like, Al, try not to be suspicious for once. Like, you're suspicious every fucking episode. It gets to a point, brother. Like, you gotta stop. But at the same time, it also could just be like a misunderstanding where he found it on the ground, or like maybe he defeated somebody off screen. I doubt that. That wouldn't make too much sense. But something happened where he was able to like get Capella's media here, which would work in a way that we can. And it'd be also interesting if we do like an Al and Amelia kind of duo, as the two of them have communication with each other, and instead like have everybody else kind of figure stuff out too. But I don't know how far that duo could really go, and like what the purpose of showcasing a lot of that stuff would be, if intention would be to reset at some point too. So there's a lot of like up in the airs of like what the direction would possibly be going forward now, because of where we find ourselves at, which makes me really curious, I guess, what Subaru's actual plan is moving forward. So we'll have to just, I guess, jump in and end up seeing. I hope you enjoy. I hope I enjoy. I'm thrilled. I love our extended episodes. So of course, or expecting good things. We're expecting good things, you know. Hopefully you guys enjoy. If you like it all, like and subscribe if you want to. Feel free to stick around for our discussion. Leave any comments about this episode or series. Let's get going with season 3, episode 7 of ReZero. Oh my god, Al. I just want to watch him fight. So somebody just had it? Why are they holding of one? How I was told it would? Or just meaning like if you opened it, somebody will... I don't know. No, not that. Thank you, Amelia. Oh. Probably one of the other towers. Number 2. What exactly? Your own safety? Oh, yeah. No. So I just gotta do my part well like that. Awesome. Sick. Awesome. Is it together? Thanks, brother. I wonder if that's a cultural barrier type of thing with the saying, or if it's just Amelia being Amelia. Will he though? That's growth on your part, I guess. Okay, we are gonna get this. I was wondering if we would get OPs and EDs with the extension, or if they would just pack 29 minutes of content, but that's cool. The fun thing about that is I feel like a couple of those scenes in the OP don't happen just because of the stage we're at. So unless they're like second core stuff, and they're not going to change the OP for it. I was giving orders. Thank you, bro. How did he know where we were, too? My princess hates me. I would if I could. Oh. Okay, so they all just found us. We didn't have to look for them. Cool. We just gotta find Reinhardt now. Aww.
大将も夫は兄もエミリア様もベアトリスもみんなよ。心配かけて悪かった。この通り俺は無事だ。一部黒くなったりしたな。夏希君はエミリアさんの伝言を信じるん？
Why would she lie?
最後のベアトリ
It's
ス
more, do you believe Al?
本人っぽかった。ああまあ頑張りすぎて無鉄砲になってないとは。
Yeah, there's a concern definitely there. Yeah.
敵中で元気すぎると思うぜ。あのお嬢ちゃん。
She realized that too. Yep. Oh, she went back. Oh. Yeah, 184 catch us. Yep. Are you gonna say something? You gonna be a snitch? You're just okay with that? I'm assuming they all would rather you do that, yeah. True, actually, yeah. Hmm.
集まりは魔女境から都市を取り戻したい本部。ミーティアは街中に声を届ける放送アイテムで。
So we're gonna also, this is what I asked for earlier. I said it'd be sick if they just give a notice to everyone.
孤独を深め、心をすり減らし、命さえも脅かす。到底許せるものではない。
憤怒の権能が街の人たちの不安な気持ちを増幅させてる。そのきっかけは色欲の性格悪い放送だ。だったら
魔女教が不安を煽ったように。
We'll give some ease. Yeah.
そうすればその希望が広がって同じように街中を覆い尽くすはずなんだ。
And if we can utilize somebody like Liliana to our advantage too, we can constantly alter that. Immediately come for us. Oh, that.
俺もそれが怖い。ただその話にも一個疑問がある。開いた水門だ。
Yeah, because Capella said it wasn't her.
あの時色欲は制御塔にいなかったはずだろう。タイミングだっておかしい。なんだって俺たちが逃げる手助けみたい。
So one of the others are an exterior force.
魔女教の奴らがやることは確かに尻滅裂だが、ルールはあるはずだ。
Yeah. Because I mean, even Regulus got mad about it.
ミティアを壊さずに放置していった。壊す時間は十分にあったのにだ。つまりうちらが使うことは織り込み済みやって言うん？
Hmm.
そんなことして何の得が？
Or it could just be that they plan to use it still.
連中はこっちのやることなんて何とも思っちゃいねえよ。負けたことがねえし、負けるなんてことは考えたこともねえ。
Yeah.
竜が足元のアリの作戦なんか気にしねえだろう。
That's valid.
放送は乗ってもええよ。アナスタシアさん。あとは誰がやるかや。誰が
Who? I mean, him.
そりゃここはアナスタシアさんの。
No, you.
当選候補者で知名度もある。
You're known for getting everybody to rally behind you.
うちの名前に魔女教の不安を追っ払う力。
But if you put up a proven person against them,
ぐらいがせいぜいやね。力不足を認めるみたいで尺なんやけど、ひでたまくらかしたらええって話ならやれんことはない。
it's not that. No. We actually want to relieve them.
身を切るって判断を嫌やって否定した夏希くんの考えとは。そりゃ あんならクルシさんならどうだ。応戦の場でも白言
Not
の
in
時で
her
も
state,
ク
brother.
ルシさんの言葉には力があった。
せやね。
Normally,
でも今のクルシュさんを引っ張り出してミーティアの前に立たせるなんて不可能や。
あんならユリウスはどうだ。お前ならその資格が。
what is he desperately grabbing at to avoid doing it himself here? Or does he just truly not believe in himself to do it?
俺なら残る可能性はヴィルヘルムさんとリカードか。あ、いやプリシラとリリアナを連れてくればワンチャン。よ、それって大将がやるんじゃいけねえのか。
Yeah.
は？大将しかいねえ。大将なんだよ。だってそうだろ。魔女教の滞在式を倒したなんて肩書き。
Exactly.
持っちゃいねえんだ。それが今この街で一番でけえ意味がある。
Exactly.
大将、あんただけなんだよ。
And everybody immediately backs it.
も
Awesome.
う同意見や。
Sick.
誰かにやらせるんなら夏樹くんしかおらんて。
Right.
アナスタシアさんまで。お前まで本気か。
Still some confidence in the boy.
覚えているかな、スバル。君が王戦の場で大勢の騎士たちの前で単価を切ったことを。その後、私が君を連兵場で打ち倒したこと。
生涯三本指に入
But it led you to where you are now.
君の根拠のない宣言も、騎士を呪った集体も、その後に白芸との戦いに加わり、ついには怠惰の討伐をも成し遂げたことも。
You make strong boasts, but you back them up.
それが不安に震える人々の一助となるなら、それは君こそがふさわしいと私は考える。
Awesome.
君の求めに応じる者はガーフィールをはじめとして大勢いるだろうが、その中に私もいる。
Look how happy he is. Aww.
あようならやめちまえよ兄弟。ここにいるやつがそんな大層な男かよ。
うるせえよ。てめえが大将を語んな。
何もかも背負ってそれでどうにかなるんなら大したもんだ。
Mhm.
けど大多数の凡人はそんな役目なんて背負えねえんだよ。俺はもちろん兄弟だってそうさ。俺は姫さんのために行動する。だから他の奴らのことは全部後回しにするつもりだ。
ある。
兄弟もそうしろよ。ジョーちゃん、エミリアだけ助けて尽くせばいい。魔女教の奴らなんざ通り魔みてえなもんだよ。
But he believes in
関
her.
わるだけ損をするのさ。もしやるなら兄弟がこれから背負うのは永
He's been having that since episode 1, hasn't he?
遠。負けちゃいけねえ。勝たなきゃならねえ。
Mhm.
希望を担い、期待を背負い、未来を示して戦うんだ。ここで決断したらそうならなきゃいけねえ。
負けちゃいけねえのはいつだってそうだろ。
重みがちげえ。兄弟の負けは兄弟の負けだけじゃ済まなくなる。
ありがとうスバル。
Awesome.
私を助けてくれて。
なんだ。じゃあいつもと変わらねえな。
Exactly.
そんな顔すんなよ、ガーフィール。あ、大将。あ、大将。大
My
将だ。やっぱり大将は大将だ。
little cheerleader Garf.
アナスタシアさん、やるよ。英雄。いいじゃねえか。あ、いや、正直照れくさいにも程があるけど、ヒーローやることだけなら、もう1年前から決めてたんだ。
Yep.
そうしないと見られてる子に恥ずかしいし、見てる子の背中に追いつけねえから、どっちっても笑うなよ。ため息もつく。できれば聞くな。
笑いなどしない。
You even know what you're gonna say, you're just gonna free ball it
最後まで姿勢を正して傾聴し、
and respectfully.
心配してくれてありがとうよ。あれ、おかげで覚悟が決まった。
It's always good to have someone like Al push you there, no matter the direction he meant it. Just chilling on the back. I thought he was just gonna leave. What you got for us, brother?
いっそあなたが戻らないまま旦那様の怒りに飲まれてしまえばよかった。これでは何も変わらない時間が続くだけで。
Mm.
だったら一度立てたんならまた頑張りましょう。私 まだ一回も諦めてなんてない。な村で暮らすただの娘でした。そんな私をめとるために旦那様は父も母も兄弟も隣人も互いの顔と名前を知るだけの村の人も一人残らず根絶やしにした。彼の妻は全員同じ。
That's crazy exchange.
これでちゃんとみんなに声が聞こえてるのか？
What's up, brother?
マイクテスト、マイクテスト、ワン、ツー、ワン、ツー。
I'm just gonna assume it works.
まずは最初に驚かせてごめん。今度は何言われんだって不安になった人が大勢いたと思うけど、安心してくれ。今この放送してる俺は魔女教の人間。
Who are you? Who are you? Tell them who you are.
助かったのか？
あいつら追い出してくれたの？
Not
大
yet.
殺で悪いんだが、魔女教の脅威はまだ去ってない。みんなはこの放送をどこで聞いてる？避難所にいる人たちや、ひょっとすると避難所に逃げ込めない人たち
You're
も
not forgotten. We know who you are.
みんな不安でいっぱいなんだ。だってのにわざわざ変にみんなの期待を煽るような真似をして俺を何様だって思ってる人もいるはずだ。俺は何様でも何者でもないよ。
Hmm.
みんなと同じ状況に振り回されて理不尽に押しつぶされそうでビビって足が震えてる。そんなやつだ。俺なんかよりよっぽどすごい人たちが俺がやるべきだってそう言ってくれてる。そうすることに意味があるんだって。俺の声震えてないか？
Very.
人前に立つなんて俺のキャラじゃないんだよ。立派なことも言えないし、みんなを引っ張ってくカリスマだって俺にはない。
I disagree entirely.
どうしようもなくて、こんな大一番今だって逃げたくてしょうがなくて、何ができるかなんてわからなくて、耳を塞いで頭を抱えて自分がうずくまってる間に全部解決してくれればなんて他力本願を願って。
But look what you're doing.
それでも逃げられないから戦う。俺はそれだけのやつだ。
It's who I am down to the core.
一緒にいるのは大切な人か。知らない顔でもこの数時間で見知った顔になったか。勝手な話だし難しいかもしれないけど、お願いだから一人にならないでくれ。一人でいるとつまらない考えばっかり浮かんでくるんだ。経験則だ、わかるよ。だから一人にならないでくれ。誰かと一緒にいてくれ。誰の顔を見た？大切な人か、それともこの数時間を一緒に過ごした知らない相手か。多分ひでえ顔してるだろう。
Yeah.
泣き顔
Terrified.
そうだったり笑ってる顔はないと。その大切な人たちに辛い顔や悲しい顔をさせてる奴らが許せない。ふざけんじゃねえ、バカにすんなよ。俺の知ってるこの子の笑顔は本当はもっと可愛いんだぜって言ってやりてえ。負けっぱなしじゃいられねえ。投げっぱなしじゃ格好がつかねえ。やられっぱなしでいいわけがねえ。弱いのも頭が悪いのも全部分かってるけど戦ってやる。あいつらが間違ってる。俺の好きな人たちに泣きそうな顔をさせるあいつらが間違ってる。だから戦う。俺は戦う。みんなにも戦ってほしい。勘違いしないでくれ。
Don't lose faith here.
殴りかかるって話じゃない。俺がみんなに望むことは下を向かないでほしいってことなんだ。
Just believe. Just have that faith.
もっとじっと睨みつけてても何も変わらねえよ。だから顔を上げて前を向い
Lift
て
your
くれ。
head, look forward, and be
周り
proud.
見渡してみたらきっと誰かと目が合う。それは同じ不安を抱えてる誰かだけど、同じ負けたくないって気持ちを抱えた誰かでもある。信じさせてくれよ。弱くてどうしようもない俺がまだ諦め
Don't make me be the only one.
そう信じさせてくれよ。それとも俺だけなのか。
違う。うん、そんなことないよ。
まだやれるって、まだ戦えるってそう思ってるのは俺だけなのか。違う。そうだ、違うぞ。
Awesome.
大丈夫。私もまだ頑張れるから。
違うよな。違う。
あなたの声が聞こえるから大丈夫。何にも怖くないわ。
Awesome.
そばにいるのが大切な人ならその手を握って信じてくれ。隣り合うのが知らない誰かなら一緒に頑張ろうってうなずきかけてくれ。自分もその人も負けも折れもしないで戦えるんだって。みんなが折れずにいてくれるなら俺も諦めないで戦う。戦って勝ってみせる。
The only way to win is to fight. Ah, there you go. That's what you need.
だからみんなは信じて戦ってくれ。大切な人の手を握って負けそうになる弱い心をぶっ飛ばしてくれ。そしたら後のことは全部この俺に任せておけ。
Well done, brother.
今の声は
That's the fucking goat right there.
すごく頑張り屋さんなの。私逃げないわ。
And I don't want you to either.
他に行ったりしない。大切な人と一緒に幸せになるための儀式だもの。
You've been miserable since the beginning.
幸せでなきゃダメなの。
Not somebody who is happy, but should be happy.
結婚できなかった人たちを私は知ってる。今も
Aww.
まだ二人のことを思うと胸が痛む。結婚しているのに幸せになれないなんて、そんな関係私は嫌だわ。私一人で。ううん、そうじゃない。私ずっと一人じゃなかった。危ない、勘違いしちゃうところだった。結婚式をしましょう。
What is your plan gonna be? Oh, that was fucking beautiful.
変な子やね。
素晴らしい演説だった。
Mm-hmm.
大将やっぱり大将だぜ。
I feel like Garf right now. Okay, okay. Ricardo.
少しは町の人たちを励ませたかな。
Maybe a little.
あとは原因そのものの排除よね。
ああ、そのためには制御塔の4箇所同時攻略か。
それなら鬼札が1
Oh!
ですか。それと
What do you got for
お送り
us?
しました。
Oh? Oh, Heindel? Oh, Reinhard. It's the color of the coat in the shadow got me a little. Thank
触
you.
れて進まない。ラインハルト・バン・アストレア。遅ればせながら合流する。
A speech for the ages. That right there is my goat. Natsuki Subaru. That's my goat right there. that was excellent. Everything I think I could have dreamt and wanted of. Got decently emotional, I felt throughout it. I don't know, once again, if it's a constant thing where I have this issue where whenever I'm on camera, I can't get like overly emotional, I feel like, and maybe it's because of the consciousness of that, but whenever I go back and when I edit, it kind of just comes out and it gets really bad. And I felt it coming up a lot there, and I almost in fear for what's going to happen. It happened a lot during Vinland Saga, where I got very emotional during the edits. But the episodes itself, I was able to contain it pretty well, so I'm a little nervous to see where that goes. But it's so much. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. The growth overall through him being who he was at the start to where we see him now, the way he's able to put everything into words, the way he's able to connect with the people there, the way he's able to showcase that he really isn't special or different in comparison to them, and giving them hope and faith is such like a beautiful, wonderful thing, you know? The confidence that oozed off of him despite not having any, if that makes any sense. And maybe confidence isn't the right word, but it's like the shakiness of his voice throughout the entirety of the speech until he gets to the parts where he was able to like really lock in for it. It's such like a special, impactful thing that only occurs through all of the wins and losses that he has gone through, which is why setting up the entirety of it with the flashbacks of all of the losses that he's had to suffer that then kind of came through with all of the victories that he's found himself coming out of each arc, especially with, has been such a important thing. right? It's all of those things. It's those decisions, it's those failures, it's those things that have led him to what he's able to do now. And it's just funny because it's like all of the people immediately were able to like recognize and realize by looking at him and be like, you're the guy who needs to do it. And us as viewers, of course, realize that as well. But the struggle on his own end to maybe recognize that or feel worthy enough to be the person to be put in that position solely through him recognizing all of these failures and the things that he's kind of gone through before. But in their eyes, and even in our eyes as viewers, they're only aware of the perfect route, right? The victories after the failures that he's had, you know, the difficulties he's had in the capital, to getting his ass completely destroyed by Julius, to then come back a couple days or weeks later or whatever it would be, to then just fighting the white whale, being completely fine off of that, right? It's really like a special thing to that to them, like in their own eyes, of who he is as a person. And we get to see that as well, us as viewers who have seen all of the struggles and the things that he's gone through, being able to recognize why that makes him so special and the right man for the job. But it's those exact reasons that we see him for that he sees himself maybe is not the right person for the job, because of all of those failures, and because he's not that perfect being, because he's not Reinhard, right? Because he doesn't have this control or influence over people. Then it's what they started the arc off with. It's what the first episode was about. It was brought up 2 or 3 different times throughout it. You never know how much your name is spread. You never know how impactful that has become, right? The mentions of who he is can really move people and do wonders. But the problem is they don't know you. They don't know your story or anything. All they know is the victories and the things you've come over. So the perfect and beautiful setup of kind of relating and coming back down to earth a little bit between himself and all in relation to all the people who are sitting here crying out in fear over what's going to be actually happening next, as opposed to just coming out and putting himself on a pedestal that's clearly higher than everybody else, is such an excellent and smart decision for him to frame the entirety of the speech. And I think that's my favorite thing about it, is the excellence that we get of, like, you typically, if you want to command the audience in a certain way and you want them to pay attention and listen to you and like hang on every word that you say, maybe starting off with your accolades and in your name even is the right thing. And that's why I immediately made the jump when I was saying it. I'm like, tell them who you are. But instead, let's actually tell them who you are. Let's not use our name. Let's not use our accolades. Let's just have a heart to heart. Let's talk about us, right? And I think that was such a beautiful thing that I wasn't even thinking of a possibility. Instead of utilizing that sort of thing to make these people almost have this respect for you or this belief in you, and selling them on this false dream, selling them on something that just isn't true. As he said before, he wouldn't lie, and he shouldn't have to lie, and he didn't lie throughout the entirety of this. If he sells them on that, it might mean a lot of negative things, but also you're not going to have that relation to them. You're not going to be able to entirely flip what Wrath is able to do with the emotions here, by making them have to look up to you and take words from somebody who maybe has never really been in their position. So instead, if we flip it all on its head and we start off and we strip everything back and we just have a real heart to heart, we get raw with it, and we decide to say, I know what you are. Like, I know what the position you're in, how you're feeling, because I've been there before. The previous world that he's in, the world that he's in now, the struggles, the difficulties, the deaths, everything that he's had to go through, the isolation that he essentially has felt at times too, not knowing, you know, does he have somebody to turn to? Does he have anybody he can believe in? The fear of having to like fall back on oneself, even though you don't believe you're capable of doing any of the things that might be necessary for you to survive or succeed in what you want, is like a real thing that he really knows down to the fucking core. We all know that as well. So being able to connect with those people and allow them to see that the new people that they've had to spend time with, that they see next to each other, whether you're siblings or lovers or strangers having to meet with each other, to then be able to describe all the feelings and the things that have run through them. He knows that very well as somebody who's gone through it, and being able to connect with them on this level to then make them see, maybe you are this normal person or somebody, not selling them false dreams. I didn't do this, or I haven't completed the task. I'm not going to assure you of your safety. I'm not going to tell you everything's going to be okay. But what I will say is, as somebody who's in the position that you are in right now, if you give up, if you do all of this, you will not succeed. I am who I am, right? And then being able to openly explain that we have to fight no matter what we do. And look at this. This is who I am. This is what I have done. But I'm literally just like you, after being able to fully have this beautiful display of everything that he can relate to them with, to make them feel on similar levels. Like I said, if you start the other way, if you flip the way that he ended up having this discussion around, and you start putting yourself up here and having the view of you up being like at the top, when in reality, like they're all down here. Instead, if you put yourself on the even playing field, then they can maybe look and aspire to be somebody like you, to not lose faith and continuing to want to fight and not lose any hope there. And he knows what that's like too, as somebody who has lost that before and has wanted to give up and been told many of times, you know, that it doesn't suit you and that's not who you are and you don't want to give up. And if you do, that's the point that you end up losing, right? The moment that you admit defeat to yourself or you give up entirely is when you lose. It's not actually when you would lose under these like general like sense, I guess, that we would actually have. So it's really a special thing to be able to relate and connect to all of these people that I absolutely adore. And I think it was so beautifully handled. I think the ultimate tone switch from going from Kobayashi Yusuke's performance, like he did such an excellent job, as he always does, and he absolutely nails everything always, which is why I love him so much. But having that voice that is clearly shaky, and even when Subaru brings attention to it, you noticed it prior to it, right? The uncertainty and the fear of having to go and publicly like display and vocalize yourself in front of thousands and thousands of people that who are entirely fearful in knowing that you have to take on the burden of being this hero almost, right? The warnings and the things that Al just previously gave you that you're aware of, and I mean that's who you are, that's who you've been since the beginning. But having to understand all of that and understand the weight of the situation that you were in, and that any critical mistake here could be the end of everything, and not really taking this with a cocky or arrogant approach in any sort of way where he just comes up and is like, I can just say and do and approach this however I want because I have this safety net. I have the return by death. I can come back. I can alter and change if I need to. Instead, he says, fuck that. I'm not even going to worry. That wasn't even a thought that crossed his mind here, right? There was no dialogue in regards to that at all. It was, this is my one and only shot and I have to make this work. And him stumbling essentially through his words at the beginning while making it all make sense. It's not like he struggled and like had to pull things together and pull them out of nowhere, but just trying to like almost the entire like testing and all that stuff at the beginning is like resembles to me like you're being put on the spot for something and you're trying to think up how you want to frame something and how you want to say. It's like me when I sit here and I'm thinking of like certain scenarios and where I want to like direct the conversation and everything. Sometimes I just start off with a general idea, or I don't, and I just talk about something that's very like obvious and basic that we can pick up on, and then I can start realizing as I'm moving along in that path exactly how I want to take that, if I want to relate it in some sort of way to like a personal experience, or if I want to try and like expand it out to like other stories and scenarios that I'm familiar with, or if I want to connect it back to something else that another character has, and just how I want to like connect it to allow it to like click a little bit more into my own head. Is exactly almost like what I feel when I'm seeing him do this. It's like a filler at the beginning. Let me try and figure out what I want to say and how I want to frame this. Then let me start framing this, but I'm nervous and I'm struggling to get over that. But wait, I can utilize this to my advantage and pull together and progress this a little bit more. And once I feel like I've got it to a point that I can like really settle down and lock in for a second, we get the switch. We get the visual switch a little bit. Things look a little different. The confidence in his voice immediately comes. He's no longer as shaky as he was before. The music starts to pick up and everything builds up into this beautiful climactic moment of him realizing and continuing on to ask everybody to fight and not to give up, and needing to have that belief in each other. And belief is something that's just like one of those strong themes that we get continuously throughout this series of especially, I mean, the reason to believe in itself of that episode, but just having to find that, right? Creating scenarios and different things that can allow people to fall back, whether it's your track record, but also relatability and a variety of other things. Trying to sell them off on these ideas, I think, is such a wonderful thing and great direction overall that he was able to bring it, and to be able to parallel throughout the entirety of the episode of Amelia at the beginning and end almost of having to like go through this arc that we get to see of how much faith and trust that she actually puts into this person through the things that she's actually seen him do as well, but how much faith and trust that he almost has within her as well, for everybody to have to go out of their way and do their own thing. Al trying to give him multiple outs. If this is the most important person, you want to go save them, right? Absolutely he does, but he realizes that he should trust these people. He's been told before, what was the perfect example? I think it was in season 1, when he went to go step in right towards the end, and I think Julius or Fellas or somebody stepped in front. It was like, let her do it. Like, the people that you want to protect also want to protect you. The people that you want to protect aren't as weak as you think they are, and have some confidence and faith in these people. And it's a thing that he's finally able to like realize and believe in here, right? She believes that he'll come in at no matter what, he'll be there for her at the end of the day. But in the meantime, there's things and people and everything that I care for and I would like to protect, and I would like to go out of my way and do positive things for, which is exactly what we get to see Emilia talking about and wanting to do, disregarding where Subaru is or what's happening with him or anything, and not even asking, but instead just saying, give him this information. I know the type of person he is. I know what he's going to be looking for. Let me handle the things I got to do here, but make sure that he is aware of this other stuff so he can utilize that into whatever plan and scheme that they're cooking up over here, which I think is great. And even by the back end of getting that confidence instilled in her through the words, and also just like having that reassurance that he is safe through having this speech that she gets to hear, to then making that declaration still once again of wanting to protect 184, of wanting to protect the other wives, of wanting to go through, presumably with this wedding, is some sort of way to continue on with whatever plan may be necessary to keep Regulus out of the game from attacking anybody else, in getting in the way of whatever they may be trying to set up, or giving them and buying them more time to be able to do something to come and jump him if they have to, right? Like, whatever the scenario actually is, and just playing your part but being smart about it, even though she's overconfident, and she calls that out multiple times. I think it's so really awesome to see that. It's the growth on her end. I never gave up. I never did any of this, but as viewers, we're aware that she did at other points, right? The struggle that she had. Well, maybe she didn't, and maybe that's a misinterpretation, I guess, on my own part. I relate her failing the trials over and over, even though those were not in the actual, what do we call it, actual like timelines that we went through, as like ways of that happening, but she doesn't recall or recognize any of those things, of course, because she technically hasn't kind of lived through them, which would make a lot of sense to me of why she believes like she continuously has gone on through this. But even if we want to relate those, because she technically didn't give up, it's not like she just like stopped doing them entirely, but she did have multiple moments where she broke down and relied on others to kind of be that person for her to bring her back. We kind of get that again here, where she instead realizes that that's a position that she was in, once again similar to what Subaru just did, and relating it to the other people, and now trying to relate it to the wives of like, this is what I want, this is a feeling that I've kind of like had to go through or been through at some other point, and you have to continue onwards, and you can't just give up entirely. Subaru's speech directly related to what 184 and the other wives are going through, and Emilia trying to display those words almost entirely that Subaru says and spit them back at her of like, we are going to get you guys out of here and protect you and not allow you and have to force you to kind of go through this, but you can't give up on yourself. You can't just be content with the scenario that you're in, and you have to continue fighting and pushing on. I think it's such a sick mindset. It's so awesome because how perfect the two of them kind of like operate with each other while not technically being like with each other here. I think is so cool. All right, let's get into the episode. I said a lot of what I think I would really want to say, but we do have things to talk about, specifically around Al, because this motherfucker likes to be as sus as he possibly can every episode, and it's pissing me off because I don't know anything about the dude. So it's getting me kind of mad. So we display it in a way like he just randomly finds this. I don't know how he just finds one, especially if it's Capello's. That's our assumption, right? Off of the guess that we just immediately had Regulus talking to her. Now, we could frame it in a way that there's like 4 of them within the city, and like all the archbishops actually have one, and we're connected all directly to like whatever other one is open. Or maybe it isn't a scenario where they only connect directly to like other ones, but it's just if any others are open at that present time, that's exactly who they connect to. I mean, I still don't know the inner workings of all of them, so it wouldn't be like too out of reach, I guess, for us to make the assumption that other people and not just the archbishops are actually like in possession of them. I mean, people who were the fingers for Betelgeuse actually had them as well at one point, so it's not like too out of the reach to be able to assume that, but it is one of those things where we want to make the assumption it was directly in relation to Capella losing to hers, because that's who we focused almost entirely on, that Regulus was talking to. Now, the only other thing that I can think of, especially coming from where Regulus was and what he was talking about, was the significance of making Capella be the one on the other end, was to indicate that she wasn't the one that let the city like start flooding or anything, right? And she didn't open the water gates at all. So that could have been the sole purpose for it, and I'm just like latching on to something that isn't really like there, but it is just something I kind of want to keep an eye on at least. I got a response, nobody's there. This isn't going how I was told it would. So a concern that I have almost here, or not concern, but question I have, is it simply he was just informed how meteors actually work, and he was confused because it opened up and somebody was on the other end, or nobody was on the other end because of like the direction that she was facing it, and he was a little bit confused by that? Or is it something more to it? Is he aware of like something, like he wasn't told that he was going to open this and it wasn't going to be one of the archbishops? Like, is it some other like wacky ass scenario that could be it? I don't know. I definitely didn't see this coming. Like, I wasn't expecting it to be you on this end or something. I need you to tell Subaru something. All right, what you got for me? The first and third towers are directly taken over by other people, so assumption of Wrath probably in control of 2 or 4, and Roy X Lie being in control of 2 or 4 as well, would be the guess there. Unless neither of them are controlling one and they're just going crazy in the city. But I don't know if Sirius or the others are. Tell them to keep Betty safe. Aren't you forgetting something? You're being held prisoner. You don't have to act tough. It's okay for you to cry and wait for others to come and beg for that to actually happen. Oh, don't worry about that. I'm chill off of that. He's gonna come. I know it's in the cards at some point, but I'm really not worried about it. Let me do my own part and do what I actually can, which is awesome to see from her. And I wonder if it's like I wonder like his reasoning for it, because I don't get that vibe from Priscilla that if she was alone here that she would just willingly sit around and wait on him to kind of come look for her, or if it's just like his idea of what the duty of a knight is supposed to do, and it's just the difference in that, or what exactly it is. Because Priscilla easily would just go out of her way and do her own shit. Like she would not sit around and wait for Al, I feel like. Tell Subaru and his buddies what you said. So it's like, even another thing, it's like calling him Subaru, right? Everybody else calls him Natsuki or Natsuki-san or whatever it is, right? Like everybody else calls him that, except for Amelia and Rem, like the people who are close to him. Like Al, you're not, and especially somebody who's Japanese, right? And coming from this, it's like, does it make any sense for you to just immediately like kind of jump to and call him that? Like, what's your relation here for wanting to do that? Or is it just like we're in a different world, I don't really give a fuck, like, and it's just relevant in the conversation because that's what you're calling him? Your prince on a white horse will take care of the rest. And then she gets confused and she doesn't get it, and he's a little bit he's a little upset that she didn't get the joke. But I also wonder if it's just the constant issue Subaru has gone through with cultural barriers and difficulties to get like a saying that might be like not within this world really. So she doesn't really understand that. But I don't know entirely. Because that would make sense why he actually utilizes that. Why do I feel so confident about everything that's going on? Funny. We get an OP, which I wasn't fully expecting to get. So I had questions, I said, about the overall like OP here, because I don't go through them, right? This is something I talk about pretty often, is I try to not like scene by scene or anything and do it, because sometimes they put spoilers in them, sometimes they don't, but based on like a couple of the scenes and stuff in this, they feel like things that we would see at some point, right? So my only concern here when we get is like some of the scenes where we get like Amelia fighting Wrath, and then we get but she's in like her normal outfit and everything. And then we get another one where Regulus is holding her, but she's also in her normal outfit. So like we get different moments and things like that that get me a little like, what exactly are we looking at? Because I would be under the assumption that the second core kind of for this, so when we start episode 9, would probably get a new OP. It would signify us going on a counterattack, would it not? If we change up everything that's happening. But also we might not, and this might be the OP for the entirety of this. If that happens, and that's perfectly fine. That could also indicate exactly what we're going to actually get out of this here, and like what's going to happen in all of these scenes and everything will occur. But it also makes me like confused, because we're assuming we're going to find Amelia and she's not going to be like dressed or anything in what she is. Instead, she's going to have to her is whatever Regulus ended up making her wear here. So or like something else entirely, assuming this wedding goes on. She might be even like in a dress or something. So like, what exactly are we gonna, are they trying to like showcase us here? Because a guess that I would have would be we get reset at some point, but I find it hard to believe we get reset back to where episode 1 or 2 comes off. And especially after this episode, my guess at the entire beginning here was we would reset probably end of next episode, and then we'd redo things. I don't know if I'm still believing in that entirely. I don't think it's impossible to happen, but if it does, the move point from the first meeting that we were having in my own mind would actually end up getting, or before I was saying actually it would be right before what we just got with the speech would now be moved back to after the speech just ended, would actually be the reset point that we have. So I'm not saying that that's like entirely impossible, but even then it doesn't track to the scenes and the things I feel like I'm seeing within like the OP, because we also have like Betty and everything. So like, are we going to be able to like wake her up and get her before we move forward here? I don't know. Maybe it's not that big a deal though. Like maybe I'm looking too much into things. And Al immediately being able to find us. Like, why do you know exactly where we are and what we're doing? I don't know. Whatever. Welcome back. I got a message for you, brother. Here's your message. This is what she told me. We got to get Amelia, or we got to get Betty. We got to figure everything out. Here comes Garth. Garth's so sweet. I love how he just runs and immediately hugs him. He's his little cheerleader. Look at the way he jumps on him. Such a goofy. But he cares so much for all these people, and his emotions are so fucking high right now. Like, he's going through so much. Do you believe this message? I mean, why would Al lie about that? But also, yeah, definitely. It sounds exactly like something she would say. And putting other people before her own self here definitely makes sense too. So hope she's not getting too reckless. I agree. There's something worse. There's something bad going on. Catching her for trying to kind of sneak out. Why did you end up coming back? Doesn't make any sense. Were you hoping I'd run away? Yeah, as somebody who's suffering and had to lose so much, you know, and stuck in the scenario that we're in now, it kind of would be nice if, you know, other people don't get put in that position. But the also concern that Amelia has, I think, is excellent. Also, what happens if I do leave? Is he going to be mad? Is he going to take his anger out on you guys? Is something like that going to happen? And we have to be a little cautious of that too. But what does that mean to you? Like, why is that important to you? What he does to us, especially after we leave. It's just who she is. This is our Take Back the City HQ. We have something that we got to kind of display to everybody. So smart ideas overall of just being able to kind of neutralize, I guess, what she's doing here and flip the emotions entirely. My guess was we were going to use Liliana the entire time, and I still feel like we could utilize Liliana for purpose of when we fight Wrath, to display this and kind of keep like emotions in complete different like feelings than whatever Wrath may do, so that we don't actually harm anybody. But we also could just do something to try and isolate her entirely. I don't know what the entire intent for that would actually be, but it was nice that instead of just utilizing her now, we instead go with Subaru, and then maybe we could use her later, but we don't have to, as we see like the horrors and everything that's kind of running around the city, all the disagreements, the sadness, just all the emotions that are kind of within everybody else whose lives feel at threat here. So let's spread things a little bit further for some other people to have. What do you think they're going to do if they hear our broadcast? So that's an interesting thing too that they bring up, and I think one of them end up mentioning too that nobody actually that the like Witch's Cult isn't like stupid enough to just like kind of leave this, and they almost like would probably expect us to do this, but they also don't really care about us. And it's a similar thing to how Subaru frames the speech, where it's like, let me not view you guys as less than me, the people that I'm like essentially speaking down on because my voice is being amplified amongst everybody here. And it's the same thing with them, where they view down on all of us, so they're not gonna even think twice about whatever it is that we're doing or planning or trying to do here, because they view themselves to be way stronger and way more capable than anybody else. Like, none of these people, under the my own assumption is like, usually once they get the title for what they have, none of them probably end up dying, really, right? So it's not like too much of a concern on any of their parts that they would actually be at a like concern for their own lives at any given point here. Like, nobody is strong enough has likely ever came up and challenged any of them, except for Petalgeese, which we end up getting to see. But one thing I'm not sure of, the opened Watergate, which is also something I'm not sure of, right? So the outliers that I can think of up to this point is disappearance and abandonment of the 10 members, right, of this 10 of the council, And we have Kiritaka still kind of around, but at a loss for right now because we don't really know where he is. But the concern of like what happened and where are all of them. The dragon that's kind of running rampant around this city right now that took Karush and Subaru away from Capella that seemingly isn't even under her orders or anything. The Archbishop's claiming directly, two of them, that they didn't open it. So I feel like none of the others probably did either. So somebody's doing this and operating on their own. But who and what and why? Who else? Have we had any other weird, like, we have the knight, what am I saying? Knight, Archbishop, not Archbishop, the witch cultist. There we go. The lady or the blue guy. We've seen like the two of them be kind of relatively important at different points too. So maybe operating on their own or having their own like agendas or doing something. We could have, I would say Heinkel, but he seems pretty distracted with what he's doing, so definitely not him. So it also could just be like somebody at random that we haven't been kind of faced with at all and don't really know anything about. Is there a possibility that Typhoon is kind of still in charge or in control of something, even though she's dead, like, and her body's like acting in some sort of way that's like allowing things to happen in protection of herself and in her witch factor and everything? I don't know if I buy that one as much. I don't know. I'm struggling to find like a reason for what exactly is going on there, but I guess we will keep an eye on exactly that. Yeah, because Lust isn't in the tower, so why did that actually happen? It's helping us escape, right? So you would think it's somebody from, so if it's helping us and they're under the assumption of that, my only guess of everything that we've seen thus far would be whatever the dragon is. Is it somebody or something that can transfer forms or is in control of something? Is it a person that we're aware of or we know, or is it somebody that we will then kind of come in to knowing? I don't know. Maybe it's not that at all, but that's all I can really think about. Yeah, they've already taken into consideration. They view themselves way higher than us. I'm on board with the broadcasting. All that's left is for who can do it. And all of them see all the perfections and the accolades and things that Subaru has for himself and strong belief that he is the right person to be able to connect and do this, while he struggles to see that in himself. And I wonder if it's just like a simple, I believe these people are great. It's the same way that they're viewing him almost here, that he sees within them. So he believes that they're all like stronger individuals to use to kind of persuade like an entire nation over him, or if it's just like simply a confidence, like a self-esteem issue that he's running into here, where he just truly doesn't believe he's capable in the slightest to be able to do anything to unify people, which we don't believe at all as viewers. But it could be that. I mean, just because of all the things he's gone through doesn't mean that there's a lack of like, or there's a impossibility that somebody still struggles with their own inner kind of things, right? And he still is having like this sort of issues and confidence problems. But yeah, nobody basically wants to do it. Nobody would kind of listen to him. Why don't you just do it? You could be the one that does it. Nobody's ever been an archbishop before. You could use that to your own benefit here. That would be a good way to get everybody on your side and to have somebody who can kind of believe in you, and that's very true. The only ones are Reinhardt and you, and we don't know where the fuck Reinhardt is, so you gotta do you. Spoken defiance of the knights. Got your ass kicked, but look what you bounced back. You did so much. You took people out, the whale, the fucking Archbishop of Sloth, everybody. We've all answered to your call. It's not impossible that you can't rally people behind you. I mean, he built up such a big squad by the back of the last season as well. This is a big moment for him. Is this guy really that great? Can he do that? And I wonder if like where this is also more welcome to the sus moments of Al. Like he is like putting me on like I don't know how to feel about this motherfucker. He's not wrong with everything he says, right? And he displays things at a level that aren't like wrong in the slightest. He says like you're gonna have to burden yourself with taking on the possible responsibility of being viewed as this hero to thousands and thousands of people. If this is successful, and if not, and you somehow don't lose your life, any of the remaining ones will always forever look down upon you, and you'll have to live the rest of your life kind of carrying the loss of lives and the failures that you've kind of almost gone through. It's like a big thing to take on. It's something that he personally wouldn't want to. Like, would you want that? But us as viewers damn well know, and Subaru kind of gets it to click in at some point. I've kind of been doing this since the beginning. I've been playing the hero the whole time with my limited resources and everything, and I just been doing what I can to kind of figure things out and go with it. So he's not like it's normal, you know, it's business as usual for the boy, which I love that he said. But I don't think it's wrong for Al to have these kind of warnings, but it just concerns me or gets me like suspicious almost of like, why are you almost putting this on him? Is it some sort of way to make him fully see the full picture in the other side and then make a proper decision of it, like out of a place of like care? Or is it in some sort of way you're trying to prevent him from making a mistake or doing something that maybe you potentially have done in the past where you've tried to like take on the burden? Like, is that a possibility where we talk about, Priscilla talked about, I think his face is like all fucked up or something, right? Like, is there a scenario where something has happened before, possibly even with the witch's cult, and it's caused the loss of his hand, it's caused the fucked up like versions of his face and everything, and it's through him trying to take on what he is as a hero, and he uses this helmet almost as a shield, as a mask for himself, so he doesn't have to show that within public, because he's publicly like shamed amongst like a variety of other people, and he could be responsible for like something along those lines. And here he is, who's still plenty capable of a lot of things, but is just almost like lurking now within the shadows and just working essentially with Priscilla, but trying to hide his like real persona and like who he is. And it's now like advising and warning somebody who comes from a similar background, country, and world and everything as him, to maybe not fall into the same traps of like what he actually did before, him being like the predecessor essentially of like who Subaru actually was, like the Subaru before Subaru or something. I don't know if it's if I'm too far gone on it, but kid jumped out in the street, I grabbed them right off the sidewalk. The only thing you're carrying is heroic delusions. Yeah, that's normal. Can you see his eye, or am I bugging? I think I'm delusional. No, wait, that's white. I don't know. I can't tell. I think I'm bugging. I'll brighten it up in the post. Carries a different weight now. Your losses just aren't your own. And him being able to have all the flashbacks to the things that he's lost, the failures that he's essentially had, and then the places that it's brought him, right? These are the decisions he's made. He loses here, but look what he gets out of it, right? He takes the sacrifice, his first official one of offing himself here, to be able to come back, and he has this brilliance that he's able to get as a result of those risks and the things that he takes, right? The losses that he ends up essentially having here within episode 15 brings him to where he is in 25. And it's the same thing of the deaths and the many things he had to go through, the trials of Satella and Echidna and everybody that he had to, the escape that he had to essentially make here brings him together with Betty and brings him to the success that they have at the end of season 2. It's all of these failures and all of these things, all of these burdens of the other people and him trying to be a hero in these scenarios and the failures that came with it that brought him the successes that he has. And he once again is just like, all right, business as usual. I've done this before. Don't even worry about it. We got this. Cheering him on as boss is awesome. Somehow I can do it, I'll do it. Anything that's possible for me to do. Be a hero? Hey, I got you. Talk about you being a hero. I made that decision a long, long time ago. You gotta look good, brother. Don't laugh if I screw it up. And once again, thank you, Al, for being you. It's always nice to have those people, right? It's nice to have that person who won't tell you we need you or we want you to do this, the person who advises against it, right? You don't want yes men in your corner at every turn. So having that person who give you that viewpoint that opposes essentially what the others are trying to tell you, or maybe you're trying to tell yourself, is crucial here to push you in that direction, to make you really reevaluate, is this what I need to be doing, or am I just being influenced directly through others? I think is such an excellent thing. And it really checks you. But she didn't come back, and he just fucking was angry and ended up killing all of us. Well, you should probably just try and get up. If you got back up there, you do it again. Nah, I'm good off that. You're free to do whatever, but I'm good off that. Bad things have happened to me. Same thing with the other wives. And it's like awful finding out here the regulars literally went into the village, killed anybody who had any sort of connection or association, anything like kind of related to her. Are those her numbers on her? Those are definitely, yeah, that says 184 for sure. Unless that's just a symbol and it's just like funny how it came out, but there's no way he pranced them like he literally just labels them. Can you guys hear me now? Let me figure this shit out. So funny. I love the way that he starts this. And just tears it down to the basics. We talked about it already, but tears it back. I'm not somebody who's negative. I'm not any of this. I'm here to just deliver a message. That's all I'm going to be here for you. I'm literally just like you. I know the feelings that you're going through. I know all that. I won't lie and say we did it. I'll tell you we're in a really rough situation. Things aren't looking good. They're looking a little scary. But I need you guys to understand what's going on. I love the different shots of everybody around the city being able to see the fear they're going through. I love I love this of just Priscilla being a badass and turning around for a second to see what's going on with Liliana being on her. Felt looking cool over here, and everybody just kind of observing on as Ricardo ends up finding us. Not anyone or anything at all, and just like you, I am going through the same exact things. I'm fucking terrified of the position that I'm in, and I think other people could have done this better than me, but I am the guy who's here, so let me do exactly what I can. I don't have charisma to lead people. That's fucking cap, brother, and you're gonna find out very soon that that is just not the case. I wish I could just cry. I wish I could just close my eyes and everything would go away. That's literally just who I am. I know exactly where you are. None of you have been kind of forgotten at all. And I know the importance of some of these people might have around you. And even if they don't, they may, you may have found yourself having importance directly with them now. You want to be with somebody. You don't want to fall to be alone. It's heartbreaking to say, which is absolutely true. How on point just with any and everything he is. Can we stand for this? Are you comfortable seeing these people, especially those you care about, and even those you don't, but the strangers around you cowering in fear over everything that's happening? I can't. I have people I want to get back to, and I don't want to look like that of what you probably just had to experience. So we have to fucking do some things about it. And we can't let those jerks actually win. I still fight, no matter who I am, no matter the scenario that we find ourselves in. We will not be the ones who are in the wrong here. We will continue to fight. As Krush, unfortunately, I say unfortunately, wakes up, but like you just gotta feel bad for the girl. And I'm going to fight, and I want you behind me. I'm not saying going out and just fucking to hit everybody. I'm not saying go out and go to battle. I'm just literally telling you, I just want you to look forward. Similar to what Felt told us at the beginning, similar to what Wilhelm told Subaru at the end of season 1, or like 20-ish, episode 20-ish or something like that, when he told him not to cast his gaze down, instead to look forward, instead to be proud, instead to look forward and constantly fight to find your real battle to continue. And that's exactly the thing that we want from you. Look forward. Think about what you can do. Make those others feel good around you. Just believe in others. Make me believe I'm not alone, right? I don't want you to feel alone. You're going to look around and see all these other people, but I'm alone right now. So make me feel like I'm not by connecting to be together, right? Make me feel like I'm not the only one who's fighting while being this weak, who knows he's incapable of doing anything, and that you guys are constantly trying and have a vision of a positive and bright future that can come to life and we can realize together. And you will not be overtaken by any of that stuff as we open ourselves up to the world on the outside, right? We open up to the things, the signification of what the white birds have kind of been up to this point, coming in at these very important, crucial moments, especially the declaration of Rem, these turning points in this new beginnings almost that are actually occurring. So beautiful. If you all stay together and you don't give in and you keep fighting, we literally can't lose. You can't lose if you don't give up. And this is who I am. Thank you for listening to what I have to say. This is who I am, right? I have done this. I am the person who's capable of doing this, but I can relate. I know you. I know the struggles. I know the pain. I know the feeling. I've been here. I don't want to return to being here. I'm kind of here in a certain way right now, right? Let's not all fall into that. Let's be different. Let's let you believe I'm a person who can't do any of this stuff and can connect and can relate to you. I'm not fucking Reinhardt. I don't have these super crazy powers, but look what I've been capable of doing. We're going to continue to try and do that for you. I just need you to look forward and keep faith in all of us. Absolutely beautiful. Who was that? That was my knight. So cute. He tries really hard, trust me. If he doesn't want me to run, I won't run. I'm gonna leave it all directly for you. Still tried to help me. Marriage is something you do with the one you love, so you should be happy. As a bride should be happy. As we said before, she has shut it down before, that the bride doesn't have to be happy. As I've openly stated as well, that doesn't have to be the case, but it should be the case. These are important things to Amelia. These are important things to others, and relating it directly to the two most important people to her within her past is very special. They couldn't get married. They ended up not finding themselves in a situation that they were happy, and I'm still hurting thinking about that. I would never want to be in a relationship like that. I feel bad for those who have been in a scenario that isn't like that, so I'm going to do what I can for you. I'm not on my own. I never have been, and I don't ever plan to be. What do you intend to do? And we're doing this wedding. Assumption is, I think I said it a little before, but we're going to do this as a way to isolate Regulus. So whether it's we can go and attack one or all of the other archbishops here instead, and then find Regulus later, Or I guess the other option directly could be we distract him by doing this so that we can just sneak up on him. We could also take out all the others and then sneak up on him and save him for last, but we also could just sneak up on him before worrying about the others. Because if you create this big distraction in this thing within the city and she tries to run away, it's going to make him a little bit more like aware of the things that are going on the outside, as opposed to just like focusing a little bit on her and making the ceremony and everything happen. So I think that makes sense. Exhaustion afterwards, and you did a great fucking job, brother. I love Ricardo just coming in and just being here, standing tall with us and not actually like worrying or saying anything till he gets there. It's the guy who seduces the ladies, little girls, and ground dragons. I expected nothing else. Like I hate that so much. So a little acknowledgement, no words or anything, but directly from Al. Now we just gotta conquer all the towers at the same time. I wonder if they mean like they directly have to individually do them all at the same time, or if it just means that we have to be in control of all four, because that's what victory essentially would mean to us. I got a wild card for you. Good to see Otto back here with everybody. Good to see the excitement that Garth gives them. And I bring fucking Aura with me. I thought it was Heinkel at first because the shading almost that we get here on his like collar, I thought it was like a brownish, but it's not. Aura literally arrives. The wind just fucking comes in because he has so much going. So cool. The newest hero and the most ancient of heroes. So I wonder if ancient hero is directly related to Reinhard, but like that wouldn't make much sense because ancient feels like the wrong word for that. But the red being directly related to him is kind of the feeling that I get off of that too. I wonder if we could play into like the theory almost that I was trying to have a little earlier of Al being like this predecessor for who Subaru was, and him being the ancient hero that we essentially had there, and now we have the new one kind of taking over. And maybe I'm just getting the wrong read entirely on reasons for titling, but So now where do we head? Where do we go? What do we do? I don't know if a reset is in count for here. If we do, it would be after the speech. There's no way they would do it before. There's no way they would. So after would make sense. If we reset, don't even have to. I'm assuming next episode is plot and cliffhanger us, like plot counterattack, possibly cliffhanger us before start, or cliffhanger us on some negative and bad things happening, and then core break us for 8 weeks or so, and then bring us back in February with some good stuff, and just kind of go all out at that point. If that's what happened, the arc itself, I mean, we have to still see plenty of things to happen. Doesn't feel nearly as like wrapped up in a bunch of things and messy as almost I was like fully expecting certain aspects of it to get, which is kind of nice because I feel like ReZero really goes kind of crazy at points when like this feels decently straightforward for what we've gotten so far, which I kind of have enjoyed, but we'll have to see. I absolutely adored this though. This was fantastic. I'm so excited. Very emotional moments to see the growth overall on Subaru's part, Emilio's part, even just like all the other side characters, how important all of these people like Otto has with not Otto but Garth has like with Otto and Subaru, and how important and special these people all are to him and to each other, and being able to put our differences of this election and everything aside from each other and being able to come together and now be able to work towards a common goal and defeating like a common enemy here, I think is really sick. And they've done a really great job at illustrating a bunch of it. And now that we have fucking Aura and Reinhard back, I'm assuming he can just go fuck some shit up. I mean, we've already seen him basically take out Wrath. Unfortunately, I had to take out some others along the way, but if we can isolate them in some way, he might just be able to go through and defeat everybody for us, which would be which would be kind of sick. So we will see what is still to come. Hopefully you enjoyed. I sure as hell did. If you liked it all, like and subscribe to me. Feel free to check out videos and channel, leave comments with this episode or series. I'll be back for the 8th and final episode. I will try my hardest to be on time for it not late next week, but we'll see what happens. But once again, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for watching.